every year around the world, teachers and students work really hard during the school years. But then the summer rolls out and the routines get lost, children sleep in, and some of the learning that has been achieved during the school year is lost. And research is telling us that that is a fact. And then when the new school year begins, it's like starting all over again. But don't worry, we have good news today. We have a very special guest that has solutions, because this is where parents can actually step in and get their children ready for the school year. So let's welcome Miss Sammy Canabal, a veteran teacher, to Raising Innovators. How are you, Miss Sammy?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's start to unpack this very important subject, okay? So could you explain maybe to parents that are not familiar, what is the summer learning loss? What is this? Is this a real thing?
It is. It really is. And you can see it from preschoolers all the way to elementary, even high schoolers, and well, maybe even college. The summer slide is also called, is the moment when children really lose their knowledge, recently learn. It's also called the summer slide.
Wow. Okay. So let's unpack this. So what are the biggest challenges that you as a teacher observe when a new group of students comes into your classroom?
So what I have faced, and this could be consistent, when we have a new group of children that I know they have come from teachers before us in a 3-year-old classroom, I know they have been working with fine motor skills. That means they've been cutting, they were playing with Play-Doh, but they go off for summer. Right? And so when they come to our classroom, we had to start from the beginning. So they don't know how to hold the scissors. They still don't even know what hand they're choosing, where to cut on the line. And these are skills that they need in our class in order for them to be writing in the future. And I have also experienced lack of independency, and that's important.
So let's walk it through. So they not only lose academic skills, but maybe also those social skills?
Social skills, yeah, definitely. They don't look comfortable when they're interacting with other peers. And that's something that we always going to observe and help them throughout the way, but it would definitely help if they already have a consistency and they know what to expect.
Wow. Okay. So you have a brand new batch of 20 students in a classroom, maybe with an assistant. And what is the first thing that you do to try to get them back after the summer?
So that's a good question. We really work light activities, and that allow us to observe the children. So off they go on the ground. They're interacting. So one of us will observe their social skills, how they interact with other peers. And then we'll provide some light activities like cutting on one single line in a small group. So that way we can really observe where they at as a class, but also individually.
And how do you document that, that progress, the starting point?
So definitely we have pictures for each picture that we take. We write notes on it. So it's very important to write where the children are at this moment. And then we will repeat this maybe in the middle of the school year, or even take note when they have demonstrate success.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the problem is real. The learning loss happens. So they might graduated from a pre-K class going into kindergarten, and they might have lost those skills. So when they enter kindergarten, they're kind of lost. But let's see, what are those things? How can parents step in the summer months? Okay. What are your first ideas?
So first of all, you gotta know what the children are learning in our preschools, right? So things like phonics, letter sounds and letter recognitions, identifying numbers, counting 1 to 20. So if they had learned simple things like this with consistency, they should do so during the summer, right? Reading is the best strategy that the parents can do with their children, because reading not also will lead you to them recognizing letters, but also comprehension skills. And that's a skill they're going to need in the future, forever. Not even, maybe imagine a science problem.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine just reading and the teacher asking, well, what happened at the beginning of the book? So it is important that as we teachers deliver all these academic and life skills, the parents continue doing so.
So Are you of the school that, let them sleep in, let's change the routine? Or are you more into let's have a routine during the summer months? What do you think is the best approach for parents?
I do think routines are important, and think that you are making the children's life easy when they start school again. So allow them to be independent, allow them to make choices, and provide things that are fun for them to learn. Be observant how your child is learning, and then maybe incorporate some strategic lessons that him or her are not even know they're learning.
Okay, like what? For example, what would you suggest they do?
So let's say you go to the grocery store and you're buying canned food, tuna. How many do we need? How many people are at home? So let's buy one per person. So how many do we need? Little things like this will help the child to think on their own and really come with a solution and use their knowledge.
Okay, so that's really groundbreaking because it's like incorporating the learning that happened in the school and making experiential learning, taking it out of the home
Right.
into whatever they do.
It's more meaningful for children than just to sit down and do a workbook. So if you bring all their knowledge and use it, keep using it out there, whatever they're having fun, it's meaningful. So they will keep it. They will keep that knowledge.
And the great thing about the summer is that because the summer is more relaxed, it's more fun. I
Right.
mean, I think we can tap into that because we associate an emotion like fun and excitement with learning. That is actually positive. I mean, what kind of activities would you suggest that parents incorporate during the summer months to keep that learning going? What type of places or camps?
So definitely library. It's always a place to go. They always have activities there. They have reading times over there. So even though the teacher or whoever works in the library reads a book for them and make questions, when you go back home, ask more questions. So what do you think about this? What was the book about? I forgot. Pretend that you forgot. So then your child starts using their thinking skills and bring that comprehension skills to tell you about it. Not even talking about verbal skills, right? To communicate what they think. Also art at home. I know it's hard and it could be messy. Maybe set up an area where your child can be messy. Play with Play-Doh, cut. Allow them to draw. It's very important for children to create representations of whatever is abstract for them. Don't draw for them. Just allow them to create that representation on their own.
So you suggest maybe creating like a little area in the house where they can do these explorations?
Definitely, yeah. And keep these skills going and never stop and just making it a fun way.
Okay, so what are the most important skills that parents need to work on during the summer?
So if we are in preschool, continue with letter recognition and sounds. And maybe your child is already advanced, so maybe you want to start working on CVC words where they can put some sounds together and make words of 3 letters. Counting, don't stop counting. There's math everywhere. There's shapes everywhere. So continue with that. Just keep asking your child questions and definitely fine motor skills. And independent skills. That's very important.
Right. So maybe helping in the house, like doing some chores, having some
and
responsibility.
self-help. When they go to the bathroom, allow them to pull out their pants on their own. You got to remember when they go off to the elementary school, teachers are not really physically there to help the child. So it is important to allow them to be independent.
What about naps? Like, for example, a kid transitioning.
When in our for naps, that is very important. Imagine being still at school and it's 12 and no, you were still sleepy. You want definitely him to adapt through that.
Okay, so no naps in the summer?
I wouldn't.
No?
Maybe a short one.
Oh my God.
Maybe a short one.
That's a break for the parents sometimes. Yeah.
It is. But you can also incorporate quiet time, which can come with a book.
Yeah.
It can come with cutting. It can come with Play-Doh. So still quiet time and resting.
Right.
But interactive.
But what about technology uses? Like a lot of parents use that resource just to like have their quiet time. But what are the risks of giving them too much screen time in the summer?
So I love the technology because they do get the knowledge of letter recognition and sounds and numbers and counting. And even additions, right? Number operations. However, I have children that have never been in school. They have all this knowledge that would be advanced for a 4-year-old, right? But they don't know what a crayon is or a pencil is. So it is important that even though you're using technology at home, they are exposed to these materials that they will be using later on in the rest of their life.
Right. And what are the risks of that technology? I mean, you talk about something good, but like, what is the risk of leaving a kid just in front of their iPad for like 3 hours?
They will lose actually their comprehension skills and memory retention. Definitely. And like whatever happened in the brain, it could be overstimulated. And if you have been paying attention, being observant, children that are on screen a lot of time, they tend to be angry. They throw stuff because they can't express verbally what they're feeling. So, and that's coming with research. Many things like this could happen.
It's
Even
like a
more.
pacifier, right? Like, I mean, just think about us. Like, I mean, the binge watchings, Netflix, or like Amazon, a series for the whole day that you watch for 8 hours, and at the
And
end,
then you don't want to do anything
you're like,
else.
wow, no, it's like the day went by, but we really didn't have any experience. So imagine a child. So yeah, so if a child's staying at home, then which a lot of children are staying at home now during the summer, or they go to the grandparents. That is a complete new episode, right?
Right.
Like how to deal
Right.
with that. But so what do you do in the summer to have this mix of time? So do you suggest creating that routine? In the
Definitely
summer?
do not lose the routine. And you got to think there's so many opportunities in the house with the grandparent, with the stay at home mom or dad. It doesn't matter. Incorporate those time. Find the opportunity to interact with your child and involve him in activities at home. Cooking, it's an extremely amazing math experience and sensory. So there's so many opportunities that children can have at home that doesn't have to involve
Absolutely.
an iPad, right?
So how would a routine look like? Okay, they're waking up at 9, and then the breakfast, and
Right.
then maybe like a little. What would you do after that? Like a routine of maybe reading a book to start of the day.
I would definitely,
Or-
even with breakfast, it doesn't have to be academic. You got to think that interactions are also learning opportunity for children. So if you're interacting with the adult, you know how to speak, you're using vocabulary. So let's talk about breakfast, right? Let's talk about what's the first letter of bread. B for bread. You're already using letter sound. You're using their knowledge on their benefit, right? So from there, yes, you can definitely, what would you like to do right now? Would you like to go to the park? If you go to the park, you're having gross motor skills.
Yeah.
You're having physical coordination. You might interact with other children outside in the
Mhm.
playground. And that it also isn't as a routine of the big change that's coming for elementary school. They come back, it's time to relax, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it will be quiet time or nap time if you still want to sleep.
Yeah. Well.
If you want the parents' break, but incorporate a book.
Yeah. And then, okay, then a book.
Yeah.
Then maybe, and the good thing is that we've written many books for parents. One is Simple STEAM that just gives you like prompt questions, and you can go and just get ideas on how educators do it on the other side. So you can pick up a science activity and do it. That could be a couple of hours of
Definitely.
immersive learning. Another opportunity would be maybe even the house chores, like you said, like
Yes.
having those responsibilities of taking care of the dog,
Right.
or going to the bathroom and things like that.
And with these activities, children will have many questions, which also lead us to another learning opportunity. So where do we stand as parents? We are there to ask questions, receive questions from them, but don't give them the answer. Allow them to figure out, use those thinking skills, and that's going to lead you to science that you were talking before.
This is so important what you just saying,
Very.
because, like with our children, I mean, we are repeating patterns from what we learned when we were kids, right? And so one of the things is that, like, when we were little, probably we asked a question and our parents gave us an answer. Even if it's wrong
All
or
the
right,
time,
that
yes.
doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So one thing that we can do, and I always encourage that, is that if you don't know the question, have just like a question board in the house, right? Like, oh, I want to know why the sky is blue, or where the like why it's raining, or whatever. You can write that question, and that could be a whole activity, and just pause it there. Do not give the answer immediately, and just like explore with your
Right.
child going through that process.
So these are called open-ended questions. So even though your child wants to have the answer immediately, you can ask them, well, what makes you ask that question?
Yeah.
What is it that you're seeing that makes you curious? And the conversation is going to start. And maybe that person's going to find the answer right away. Maybe not. Maybe it'll take a few days. But that's what you're saying. That is STEM. That is continue to be curious. So
Yeah.
if a child is curious, it's allowed to ask questions. He or she are taking risk. If
Yeah.
they take risk because they trust you on those questions that they don't have, they'll take risk on learning. And it's just going to come naturally.
Yeah, those are what we're curious about is what we are really are going to hold on to that question. And let me tell you, they're going to keep asking even if you give an answer.
They will.
So they won't trust that what you're saying is a fact, right? Like I remember when we were little, right? Like you would ask your parents something and say, well, like, it is what it is because I say
Because
so.
I said so. Today we're allowed to say, but
Right.
why?
Like,
But
right.
why?
And especially in the age where knowledge is completely accessible.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they have, and as they get older in elementary, like, they won't trust what you say because they already have that at their fingertips.
Yes.
They just Google it.
Yeah.
Or Siri, why is the sky blue? Or who was this? Or who was that? I mean, they already have everything at the
Answer
fingertip.
for them. Yes. We want to allow them to continue to be curious.
Yes. But, like kids are really good at staying curious, but we put them in this like traditional settings and they lose it. And a lot of times it's because of the adults, right? Because we actually like are very bad at staying curious for life. But having a preschooler is actually amazing because it allows us to stay curious for life.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about the social skills, okay? Because like they come from a classroom setting, they probably made friends. How could you like keep those social skills like like learning or practicing them while they're away in the summer?
So, like I said before, definitely if you can find a summer camp that could incorporate some of the academics, would be great. If you prefer to stay at home, be mindful of all the energy that the children need to daily to continue with their life. Socializing with children when you're on the playground, it makes you observant. If you go and see them how they are interacting, you might even find what areas your child is struggling. So it is important to really continue doing this, find a park, find the beach, allow them to make friends. Of course, we have to be careful like all parents are, watch them observing, but do allow them to take that risk and really meet somebody else and share activities.
I love that. So, to sum it up, what are some actionable steps that you would start doing now as you prepare for the summer for families to start planning those fun, engaging summers that keep the learning going at home?
I would definitely make a plan, a routine, continue a routine. Maybe you want to make a schedule. Maybe ask your teacher, what is the schedule that your child has already in school so you can follow up that at home. And if you're still not knowledgeable about what they need to learn at this age or continue to learning through kindergarten, just ask the teacher again. Become knowledgeable about what they need to have in order to move to the next step, but also be observant. Be observant how your child learn, because sometimes they do want to step out of this routine of school and they're enjoying the summer. And it will be difficult to kind of catch up on something that is more academic. However, if we are observant, we learn how our children learn. And so that way we can incorporate meaningful interactions that will lead us to questions like we were talking before. And then it can also be, we can incorporate lessons that are intentional, that the children don't even know they're learning from. So like I said, maybe cooking with your child, even do the table, how many people's in the house, how many plates do we need? How about if so-and-so is not here? How many plates you need to take out? There's so many opportunities during the day, but you will know it if you're interacting with your child. So don't miss that and just be very observant.
I love that. And I personally, I am so grateful for my summer months because I had the opportunity to experience. I went to summer camps, which is another episode, but I learned English during my summers, or I learned a new language. I learned new skills, so they were always fun. So for parents, don't worry. This episode has all the tips and solutions by an expert on what you need to be doing today to get your child ready for the new school year. Don't worry, these actionable tips, routines from the expert are not only going to get you ready for the new school year, but they're going to become unforgettable moments to build with memories with your child for the rest of your life. Thank you so much for watching Raising Innovators. And if you like this show, just please like and subscribe this channel and follow us on social media. We're here to help you raise the next generation of innovators. Thanks for watching.